the air. Just call it what it is. Fumbles. Um, Hurts had one, but we didn't lose it, so like it wasn't that big of a deal. Um, and then the defense. This is what I really want to talk about. The defense was very, very good. Cooper DeJean led us in tackles. I thought he actually had a poor game to his standards. I thought he got beat a lot in pass coverage. Um, he did have some good wrap ups, but like he just kept getting beat to the outside. I feel like in coverage, but it is what it is. And then Jahad Campbell and Zach Bond. I feel like they've been our two best players so far on the defensive side this season. Um, like I said, Jalen Carter would probably be in that conversation if he didn't get ejected week one. But you know, Jahad Campbell, Zach Bond. I think they did a great job. I thought Jahad Campbell did a great job filling in week one for N'Kobe Dean. And honestly, I think he'll be the starter over him when Dean comes back to the lineup because Jahad Campbell, he did very well in pass coverage. He did very well rushing the ball, stopping the run. I think he really did it all in game one. And then, yeah, this game is no different. Him and Zach Bond, really good presence in the middle of the field. Makuba, safe. I believe he's our safety rookie. I thought he did really well this game. Half a sack as well. So, that was big. He got a tackle for a loss. So, I'm really looking forward to him because I feel like he could be a big, role filler for C.J. Gardner Johnson. Um, and just a young guy who can, take things from Reed Blankenship and whatnot. Dory Jackson, he got burnt a couple times, especially that last play where Mahomes overthrew. I forget who it was, but I think it was Hollywood Brown. Um, he overthrew his receiver by like 10 yards, but I mean, Dory Jackson got absolutely cooked on that route. The D line, week one, they were bad. I think that was because they didn't have Jalen Carter presence, but this week they were a lot better. With Jalen Carter getting doubled, left some openings for guys like Mario Ojomo, Nolan Smith, other guys, to really pressure the quarterback. Um, Makuba also had an interception. That was also huge. Backed up in our own end zone, only up 3, so Kansas City would have taken the lead there. But really big play by him to really stall out their offense. Um, and then I think we got points out of that drive. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we did.
I think we iced the game. Yeah, it was the Smith. Smith had that catch.
Oh yeah, that's right. Jake Elliott. I want to shout out Jake Elliott. 58-yard field goal, and I mean the wind was blowing a lot. 58 yards. It started right and almost missed left. So credit to him. He's really taken a step up this year. Hit a 54-yarder in the first game, and he struggled last year beyond 50. So I'm really impressed with him so far, as well as Braden Mann. I thought Braden Mann did a really good job. I think we downed one on the one in the first week, and then this week, I mean, we punted a lot, and he did a really good job punting the ball this week again. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, rooms for improvement. Target A.J. Brown more. Um, and then other than that, man, I mean, just continue to really dominate. And I mean, this is a Chiefs roster that's very, very talented. So, just getting the win is big, right?
Yeah, I think that right now you kind of hit all the points on the nose. I think with Jalen Hurts is that it wasn't a good game, but also wasn't a bad game. He didn't throw for a pass over 6 yards until
Devontae Smith.
Yeah, until the Devontae Smith play. So it's hard to judge that performance because if we didn't get the win, we'd be saying, "Oh, we played like trash." But the fact that we did get the win, you're like, okay, well, he didn't lose the game. So my whole thing is you don't want to you judge someone the same way you would judge them, or if judge them the same way in a win, the same way as you would in a loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's the problem with Jalen Hurts in this game. You don't really know how to judge him. I'm just gonna say the game was okay. Once again, if we would have lost, then we probably wouldn't say he played terrible. But I guess just because he got us the win and because he did make that clutch throw to Devontae Smith, who also made a really nice grab, you have to say it was just an okay game. I don't know, barely over 100 yards. It's interesting. Barkley did a pretty good job in the first half. The offensive line was opening up holes beautifully for him. He didn't really have to jump cut in any way, shape, or form, but he did a really good job. getting through his holes, getting to the second level, using his body strength there. Ended up with a touchdown because of that. 4 yards of carry on 88 yards rushing and a touchdown, so you can't complain about that if you are Saquon Barkley. Receiving wise, it just wasn't much of a game for the receivers. Devontae Smith obviously had a really nice catch, but I just don't know why this year, all of a sudden, he's deciding to, when he catches the ball on a drag or an in route or whatever you want to call it, crossing route, he decides to just like stop and then try to cut inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really what you're supposed to do. It's not what you're trained to do as a wide receiver. So I don't really understand why he continues to do that. Just take the sideline and you'll get the same amount of yards as he did when you do all this, like, I don't know, all this fancy stuff. Doesn't really make much sense to me. But, I mean, he had the clutch catch, so I'm not going to hurt him too much. With A.J. Brown, listen, he only ever got open when he ran that, I don't even know, it's like a combination of a slant and an in route. It's a very odd-looking route, but it works the majority of the time. But that's the only route he was getting open on, and the only route that he wasn't getting double teamed on. So you have to use it if you're A.J. Brown. Obviously, he didn't really get many yards after the catch, and that's a bit of a shame. But I mean, if that was the only route that was working, then there's not really much you could do. He was getting double teamed every single time he would go past 7 yards. So I don't really know what you want Patullo or Jalen Hurts to do. It's not like Jalen Hurts wasn't looking at him on occasions. It's not like last week against Dallas where he really wasn't giving him that many looks. But he was giving him looks this week, and that was like, I just don't know what you want. I just don't know what you want him to do at that point. So it is what it is. Defensively, I think Cole hit it on the nose with Cooper DeJean. I didn't think he had a great game. I felt that he was going for the ball way too much when trying to make tackles. Then he let up yards after the catch. Coverage-wise, normally he's really good against some tight ends, but he defended well in the Super Bowl. But for today, I don't know. The coverage wasn't good. Wasn't really wrapping up well in the tackles. I thought the linebackers played really good though. Bond, Campbell. I think that once Dean comes back, he probably will rotate in with Jahad Campbell. I don't think that Dean will entirely sit on the bench after the year he had last year. Defensive line-wise, I think we have to get to Mahomes more. They opened up the A-gap way too much for Mahomes to just easily run through for 20 yards, so that's got to get covered up. It felt like when we forced Mahomes out left or right in the pocket, we were able to hold him to maybe 3 or 4 yards, except for that one touchdown run that he had. But nonetheless, I think that we got to do better as a team when it comes to closing up the pocket. I thought we defended the run well. Mahomes kind of boosted up their yards per carry just because of the runs that he had. We held Kareem Hunt to 3.9 yards per carry, Isaac Pacheco to 2.2 yards per carry. So a good game from Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis alike. Last week I gave Adoree Jackson a pass because he was guarding CeeDee Lamb. This week I really can't. His wrap-ups were bad. He couldn't make the tackles. His baseball turns were lazy. Wasn't getting low out of his break when following receivers. Just not a great game from him, and I don't know. I feel like they're going to start moving in Ringo where they could make a trade. So we'll have to possibly see there. Zadarius Smith, not a terrible game. He did get limited snaps probably because he's not implemented with the playbook and all that. And also just the team. But for the time that he had, I thought he played well, had a half a sack with Mukaba, or it was Mukaba or Ojimo, I don't remember. And then speaking of Mukaba, right place, right time, got the interception, also had a really nice run back that set us up for a touchdown. So very solid game from the Eagles, a very gutsy win. Also, J. Cole shouted out Jake Elliott, I would agree there. He played a really nice game. So a gutsy win for Philadelphia. I still think they're the best team in the NFL as we speak. They faced a good Chiefs defense, and their defense with Jalen Carter this week looked really, really good against Kansas City. So if there's not anything else, we'll move on. Just so we'll save Cole's segment for the last NFL topic. I want to talk about Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Burrow going to be out for at least 3 months with turf toe. He's going to have to get surgery, and this is interesting for the Cincinnati Bengals because they're going to have to start Jake Browning all the way until December or even further. So, and even possibly, and we don't know. I mean, could Burrow be out for the season? I mean, this injury seems pretty serious here. So, we'll definitely have to see. But I think right now, when you're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, you start out 2-0. Okay, you got those 2 games to lean on. Your upcoming schedule, you're facing the Vikings, They're without J.J. McCarthy. I think your offense can hold up there.
And they're without Jordan Addison as well.
Exactly,
Still.
and they're without Addison. Then you got the Denver Broncos. Their offense doesn't seem to be too good. I think you can hold up there. The Lions, I toss that out the window. Packers, probably toss that out the window. You got the Steelers. You can hold up against the Steelers, right? I mean, I think by that time everybody will be acclimated. Jake Browning has played in a couple starts. I believe he's 5-4 in starts in his career, or maybe it's 4-3. I don't remember off the top of my head. So you'll be acclimated there, but that is on a short week against Pittsburgh, so that is going to be tough. But you're at home. Then you got the Jets. I think that's a win. The Bears, that looks like a win. Steelers, once again in the air. Patriots, probably a good win. Ravens, Bills, and Ravens again, probably 3 straight losses. But then you got the Dolphins who look bad. You got the Cardinals who are kind of right there. And then you got the Browns again. So it's not like that this isn't doable. Now, obviously, Joe Burrow would probably return by the time maybe the Dolphins game would come around saying everything goes 100% correct. So the Bengals can still, be a winning team. And it's not like Jake Browning's just coming in out of nowhere to become the starting quarterback of this team. He had hit Jamar Chase a lot, who had an incredible game this past weekend, was hitting him on a lot of good targets. Not even just like bubble screens and stuff like that. He was hitting him down the field. T. Higgins, I like to see him get a little bit more involved. But I think right now, when you're looking at Cincinnati, it's not like that they aren't that great. Their defense is atrocious. There's no doubt about that. But their offense, I think, can stay with some of these teams, minus maybe the Lions and the Ravens and the Bills and whatnot. But I think with Jake Browning in the lineup, you're still right there, and you can still be a passable team because of all the reasons I just mentioned. And not to mention, you also do have Chase Brown in the backfield as well, who played decently well against Jacksonville. Hopefully for them, he keeps this up. The only problem I see with Cincinnati is that the offensive line is still the same. It's not like Jake Browning comes in the game and you get, the Eagles or the Eagles or somebody else's offense, or the Cowboys' 2010 offensive line. So it's not like your offensive line changes. So that's something to still be concerned about if you're Cincinnati. The fact that you still have that offensive line with a backup quarterback in there, and the quarterback you did have in there really barely was succeeding with that offensive line in there. So it is going to be tough for the Cincinnati Bengals. The offensive line's really got to pick it up, especially when you're facing some really good defenses in the next couple of weeks. Speaking about the Vikings, Broncos, Lions, Packers, Steelers, those teams all have very passable defenses. So if you're Cincinnati, you got to pick it. You got to pick up your offensive line. I know we've been saying it for years. Their defense, I don't really know a way to fix that. They just are bad in general. But I think this team can be passable without Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jake Browning, the thing with him is he just has to limit the turnovers. I feel like Cincinnati's defense, I think it's better than last year. I think they matured a lot defensively. They've been holding teams pretty well. I believe defensively as well. So, it wasn't like last year where they were letting Jaden Daniels score every single time he got the football. But, Jake Browning, it's not like he's a bad quarterback. He can still do the same things. But like Ryan said, I think the offensive line is a major problem. And especially because, you have your QB just got downgraded. Because obviously Jake Browning is no Joe Burrow. But the O-line stays the same, and I think they're going to continue to get weared out as the weeks go on. So, honestly, this might get worse and worse for Jake Browning. And I think he needs more time in the pocket, especially with decision-making. I thought Joe Burrow was, very quick with his decisions, but, Jake Browning was a little bit longer in the pocket, and maybe that's just because he was throwing downfield to his receivers. But, regardless, I feel like, Jake Browning can control this offense pretty well. And with a 2-0 start, I'm certainly not counting this team out whatsoever. So, yeah.
All right, we're set to see. Now, you finally have your own segment. We might have to give it a better name. But for now, it's Cole's top fantasy performers.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to introduce it, so I'm just going to say take over.
All right, sounds good. So I'm going to start with, some of the guys. Obviously, Daniel Jones. I can't, do this segment without him. He's been incredible. Number 2 quarterback right now in fantasy football. But I do want to highlight someone from last week, and that is Russell Wilson. Big bounce back week for him. He struggled a little bit the first week. offensively. I don't think he had many touchdowns, but this week he was very good. He finally used Malik Neighbors, and I'll get to him in a minute. But he had 30.3 points, and I mean, boy, he was phenomenal. I also want to highlight Jared Goff. He led quarterbacks last week. I thought he did a very good job. He also bounced back from week one. I think week one he only had like 11 or 12 points. So, again, really good job from him. Um, Another guy who kind of came out of the dark, I wouldn't say come out of the dark, but I mean, Drake May has had a phenomenal year, averaging 21 on the season, and he just popped off for 26 last week. So, yeah, I'm big into him. Big into Jared Goff, big into Russell Wilson, but right now my pickup is obviously Daniel Jones in the quarterback room. I feel like he's done a phenomenal job thus far this year, and he should certainly be on everyone's radar. Um, Moving on to the running backs. Last week, Jonathan Taylor led running backs in points. I want to highlight a guy who had a very good week one, Javonte Williams. He is the third ranked running back in the league right now. He had 25 this past week. He had, I think 20 against 20 plus, I believe, against the Eagles in week one. So, and the Eagles are very good at run defense. And I forget who we played this past week.
Who are you talking about?
Dallas.
They played the Giants.
Oh yeah, they played the Giants. Yeah, Giants. I mean, they have Dexter Lawrence. So I mean, again, he's producing against pretty tough defensive lines. So credit to him. Another guy who I didn't expect to have a good week this year, or good week this week, or good year in general, Ramondre Stevenson. He had 21.2. Really solid game from him. I don't know how it's gonna look because they have that rookie running back. I forget his name, but
Henderson.
oh yeah, Henderson. But yeah, regardless, I think he could emerge as a potential RB1 for them in the future. But yeah, no one trusts him. I would say no go on Ramondre Stevenson, but if Javonte Williams is still available, which he probably isn't, please pick him up. Moving on to the wide receiver room, obviously Amon-Ra, St. Brown, very, very good week. He had almost 40 points. And then obviously Malik Neighbors with 37.7.
Beautiful week for me.
Oh, yeah.
In the WSJP league.
Oh, yeah. Jamar Chase
You
also.
traded him, Camp.
Jamar Chase also producing.
Say it again.
Jamar Chase also producing for the number one picks. Romeo Dunze's had a very, very, very good year. He's averaging 24 a game. Fourth best receiver in the league right now. Position rank. Also, Puka Nacua, he's done a very, very good job. He's leading wide receivers in fantasy points. But a guy I want to highlight as my favorite wide receiver to start the year is Wan'Dale Robinson. He had 28 points last week. He's the eighth receiver. He's averaging 20 points a game. That's a guy you want to pick up. He's only rostered in 46% of leagues. If you didn't pick him up and you have less guys in your league, look at Troy Franklin and Hunter Renfrow. They both had 20-plus points last week. So that'll wrap up my segment because there's no real tight ends I want to highlight. Ooh, you know who I want to highlight? Tucker Kraft.
Oh, yeah, he's been good.
He has been phenomenal. 17.2 points. He had 24 last week. He's being utilized as basically the wide receiver one in that Green Bay offense. And yeah, I thought a lot of people thought Golden would get many of the targets, but honestly, it's been Tucker Kraft thus far. And yeah, Jawan Johnson had a good first week, followed it up with a good second week. So, if he's still around in your league, please pick him up. But other than that, yeah, that is it for the first
That was good.
fantasy.
Well, guess who
segment.
I had? Guess who I had all in one league?
Oh.
Burrow, Kyron Williams, Higgins. Well, I didn't start Matthew Golden this week. I started Travis Hunter for good reason, and because he got more points. But still, he only had 10. Jameson Williams had one catch and he had like 12 points. He played all right. And then I'm missing somebody else. Kyron Williams and somebody else. Who's my other running back? Oh, I have Bijan, who played well. But
Bijan.
I had a terrible week, and Burrow's out for 3 months. I had to pick up Geno Smith because I'm 7th on the waiver wire. I couldn't get my hands on Daniel Jones, so I'm also starting Dak Prescott this week.
Mm.
I'm losing this league, but the WSJP league, don't get it twisted.
2-0.
I have had an incredible week. I offered Camp a very good trade that I think he should consider. I get offering him Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, and Jalen Warren for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think he's going to be taking
God,
it.
that is a horrible trade.
How is that a horrible trade? I think that it's a really good trade.
Amonra just combined for more than all three of them.
Will you shut up? Damn. You're ruining my chances here. Don't listen to what he has to say. But anyway, one guy that you didn't mention that I think a lot of people should look at, and not just because I have him, but I think in general, Egmuka Egbuka.
Yeah.
And another 3 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah.
Having a really great couple of games. Derrick Henry not a great week as well, but I had him. But it's okay because I had Mike Evans do a really nice game. So here's my starting lineup: Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, Mike Evans, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers, Egmuka Egbuka, the Eagles defense, and Harrison Buckner is my kicker.
Okay. That's not a bad squad.
And then the way I got Malik Neighbors was I traded DK Metcalf and Jalen Waddle to Camp for Neighbors. And then looked at the
Oh, that's absurd. So he had Amonra and Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. He's not
God.
taking. I guess I'll just take away my trade that
All
I
right.
proposed. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the Philadelphia Phillies, who got a big win, or got 2 big wins over the Los Angeles Dodgers to take the NL East crown, and now they're going for the number 1 seed. The Philadelphia Phillies right now, a hot team, but I feel like now they can't get too hot for their own good. You saw what happened last year.
I disagree.
Well, hold on.
All right, I'll let you
saw
talk.
what happened last year. You know, went into the playoffs. They had the first round bye, and everybody's all hyped. Red October again, and then they get doused by the Mets. So like, I'm not saying that the Phillies should go intentionally tank the rest of the regular season, but I'm also saying that they need to keep things high right now. They can't get too big and too overconfident to the point where everything's just going to collapse once the playoffs come around.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're playing well right now. Schwarber, I think, is the MVP. Over 50 home runs this year. He's playing incredible. I think that everybody's hitting the ball decently well. I mean, you look at the last couple of games. The last time we were under 5 runs was September 6th. So that's 11 days. So they're very hot right now. The pitching's been pretty decent. Obviously you're facing the Dodgers, who have a heavy power offense. But I thought the pitching looked pretty decent against the Mets overall. Just starting pitching and bullpen wise. Yep. Nola coming into his own possibly.
Please.
Hopefully he's starting to get back in there. Obviously losing Wheeler's a big thing, but Christopher Sanchez has been consistent throughout the season.
Yep.
Obviously the bullpen has looked better, I think, in the last couple of games. But right now it's going well. But right now, it can't go too well. I feel like if it's going to go too well...
All right, let me...
I feel like if
Can
things...
I take over now?
Hold on. I feel like...
Right.
Before I turn it over to you, I feel like if things start going too well, then it's just going to repeat of last year.
I feel like this is the perfect time to get hot.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not the perfect time to get hot. I'm just saying I feel like when things start to get that too well... Like, at the end of the year, you want to get hot. But the same thing happened last year.
What do you want us to do? Like, not win out?
No, but, like... I don't know. Everybody can't get their hopes too high, is what I'm trying to say.
All right, that's fair, but I feel like we should keep doing whatever we're doing.
No, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I just feel like we can't get our hopes too high.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, go ahead.
I'm really, really excited about this team right now. You win 3 out of 4 against the Braves at the end of August. Then you take 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee, 2 out of 3 against Miami. You sweep the Mets in a 4-game series. You take 2 out of 3 against Kansas City. And at Dodger Stadium, you have a chance to sweep them tonight. Luzardo on the mound, Snell opposing. I feel like we have a good shot at the sweep against the Dodgers, who are, I feel like, the number 1 threat. Number 2 threat. I'd say the Brewers are higher, just because of Freddie Peralta. But, yeah. Arizona, Miami, Twins to round it out. I love the way Noel's been pitching, except for that game against Kansas City. He kind of fell apart a little bit. But Luzardo, he's been good, minus that first inning against the Mets. I thought Bueller did very, very well in his debut with us. Um, Walker, I don't know. Walker, I'm always hesitant about.
Yeah,
Um, but we won't have to use him in the playoffs. Hopefully, Sanchez, he's been very, very good down the stretch. Very, very good the whole year. Honestly, I think he has a shot at the Cy Young. Um, you know, if the voters are fair enough, I feel like he should be top three. I feel like that's pretty much solidified. I think Skeens will probably end up getting it, but I think Sanchez definitely has a case. And unfortunate that Wheeler won't be with us. Probably this whole playoff run, but just hoping to get him back healthy by next season. Just because he's such a big arm for us. But yeah, regardless, I feel like this is the perfect time to get hot. Sweep the Dodgers, that would be incredible. And honestly, if we can really turn up these like next week or two, I feel like we could have some steam going in the playoffs and maybe beat the Brewers, man.
Let's see. Moving on now. Let's get to Bo Bichette and the Toronto Blue
Yep.
Jays. You're interested to talk about them today, Cole?
Yeah, Bo Bichette, they're looking to get him back. He's out for the rest of the season.
Right.
They need him for October. I think he's their best hitter right now. I think he's arguably one of the best hitters in the AL right now, other than Nick Kurtz. I feel like he's batting .311 with 18 bombs, 94 RBIs, and 181 hits. He's been phenomenal all year for them, so they really need him. I feel like he is the number one offensive producer in this lineup. I feel like Vladdy Guerrero Jr. can get hot at times, but I feel like he's been their consistent guy this year. And coming off a down year this year, I feel like he's really been good down the stretch for them. And obviously batting .311, hitting for contact as well as power. And yeah, he's the heart of that lineup. And I really like the Blue Jays coming out of the AL, just because it's not really strong. Like the Tigers are good, but they don't have a ton of starting pitching other than Scooble. Yankees, they're solid, but they've been very, very bad defensively, and whatnot. So I have if the Blue Jays have Bichette, I think they have a good shot at maybe possibly coming out of the AL.
I think my thing is that he said he has it's a second opinion that it won't require surgery. That makes me nervous because some think he needs surgery, some thinks he don't.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. But I agree with everything you said. The Blue Jays have a very good shot. If they do get him back for the postseason, we'll have to see. But if I'm the Blue Jays, I'm very, very cautious about that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. As I mentioned, we did go a bit over, but Ryan's Ransom will wrap things up. Cole, give me the first topic.
Penn State playing Villanova.
Now, what in God's name is Penn State doing, putting Villanova on their schedule? Actually, you know what? It's like modern day playing the Sisters of the Poor. You have got to be kidding me. Why does Penn State decide that they want to play some bad teams? The number 2 ranked team in the country is playing a D2 team, Cole. A D2 team. What do they have to prove by beating up on Villanova? It's like taking candy from a baby. This is ridiculous.
Canelo versus Crawford was not close.
I judged Canelo versus Crawford 10 rounds to 2 in favor of Canelo. And then I go online, and the idiots on Twitter have it like 6 to 5 or whatever. Or whatever. I don't. They only gave Canelo Crawford one more round. My grandmother's grandmother, and her grandmother could judge that fight better than some of these people that are, quote, boxing experts. You have got to be kidding me. We'll talk about this more tomorrow on Combat Hour, but an absolutely terrible showing from the boxing community on Twitter saying that Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez was close. You've got to be kidding me.
Get mad at the ref for the tush push.
Listen, I get the Eagles were offsides. I'm not denying it. Yeah, they false start. But why is everybody blaming the Eagles for it? The Eagles are just doing what they got to do. They're just trying to play the game and win. Blame the referees for not jumping off sides. Listen, just because the Eagles have the referees on their side this year, and all the Chiefs fans are mad about it, don't mean you got to get mad at the Eagles fans. The Eagles are just trying to do what they got to do to win the game. The referees are the ones who got to make sure that all the rules are intact. It's not the Eagles' fault, so I don't know why everybody's complaining. Now listen, I'm not going to be complaining about it, but I'm saying, why you get mad at the Eagles? Why you get mad at us? We're not the ones who, told the referees to do anything.
Yep. Chiefs getting a little taste of their own medicine
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
After getting 4 free wins last year.
Exactly. Exactly.
That'll wrap things up for the first edition of Junior Year CR7 podcast.
Oh my God, there's only two more years left. Are you gonna cry on the last episode?
Oh no.
I think I'm gonna what if I bring in some fake tears and I make it look all sad?
That would not be right. I feel like we should go out on a bang.
We should go out on a bang, like a great episode. But anyway,
yeah.
That'll do it for the latest edition of the CR7 podcast, guys. As I mentioned, AJ Farrington and I debut in Combat Hour tomorrow morning, 7:40 a.m. here on WSJP. And in terms of St. Joe's Prep Sports here on WSJP, make sure you tune in 2 p.m. versus Good Counsel. Soccer next Tuesday against Archbishop Carroll. Next Wednesday against Penn Charter. Make sure you guys stay tuned. WSJP. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at SJP Broadcasting and X. Make sure you guys subscribe here. That'll do it for the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. We will see you later.